We will today present the project about Unbounding Logistic Performance Project. We are Group 3 and we have in the group Ali Sheikh Deeb and Hamza Sami Salmi, and I am Yasser Awad Kathiri. We have an agenda: introduction, infrastructure, developing logistic service markets, streamlining border procedure and facilitating trade, supply chain reliability, a key concern for all countries. An introduction: the International Logistic Performance Index, LPI, provides into two drives of overall logistic performance to unbundle the survey results. It is necessary to refer to the domestic LPI. This section is based on the domestic LPI, where surveyed logistic professionals assess the logistic environments in the countries where they work. It contains more detailed information on countries' logistic environment, process and institution, and look at the logistic constraint with countries, not just gateway such as ports or borders. Infrastructure, a shared concern across performance groups. Infrastructure is a major concern across all LPI performance groups except the top performance, but survey responded signal important the quality of information and communication technology, ICT, is constantly rated higher than physical transportation infrastructure. Table 2.1, difference among the other four quantiles are less darkening special for road and rail. The difference between the top and bottom is smallest in ICT, suggesting that developing countries may have been investing heavily in modern technologies, graphs, even fogging intermediate stage of performance of courses. ICT cannot replace other hard infrastructure, which requires a renewed focus. In table 2.2, the highest rating are for ICT in all regions except the Middle East and North Africa and Latin America and Caribbean, where ICT ratings are very close to the highest rating. For other type of infrastructure, vary more widely by region, but two features stand out. First, certification with road and rail infrastructure is especially low in Latin America and the Caribbean, as in previous survey, and also in South Asia is in 2016. Second, certification with rail infrastructure is low in the region, as was the case for all LPI quantities. Now I will leave you with my colleague Ali to complete this presentation.
Developing logistic service market. Response in all LPI quantile are nearly always more satisfied with the service provided than with the structure quality table 2.3 compared with table 2.1. Just as for structure for service provided, there is quality gap between the top LPI quantile and the other four quantile. Streamlining border procedure. The survey collects asset indicators related to the time to trade. The case of clearness at the border and the experience with red tape. Breakdown of this data by region and income group are in Appendix 3, and for time and distance by country in Appendix 4. These indicators provide concentrating insight into the depth of implementation of trade and transportation reforms. Import and export time. The time complete trade transaction is a useful outcome measure of logistic performance and median import lead time for port and airport supply chain. As measured for the LBI is generally lower or higher performing group figure 2.4. Clear good through time is a small fraction of total import time for all LBI quantile. It rises sharply if goods are physically inspected. Even in high performing country, core customer procedure are similar across quantiles, but physical inspection are far more prevalent in low performing countries. Then for import figure 2.5, export lead time for overall logistic performance have generally declined, but not for land supply chain in the third, and fourth quintile, and molars result that will need to be monitored in future report. Documentary requirement operators as countries in the top quintile. Figure 2.9. The World Trade Organization, WTO, Agreement on Trade Facilitation, TFA, can help in two areas. First, its standards are subject to the WTO's binding trade discipline, unlike provide conversation. Also, developing countries remain free to select which part of the TFA. I will leave you with my colleague Nasser Al-Kathiri.
Thank you, Ali. I will complete from here. Supply chain reliability, a key concern for all countries. Logistic performance is strongly associated with supply chain reliability and predictable shipment delivery. The cases of delays identified in the survey are more worrisome in the three bottom performance quantiles than in the top performance or even the second quintile. Some cases of delay or unreliability are endemic to country supply chain. The quality of service and the cost and speed of clearance process are examples, but other cases such as depends on indirect maritime routing, lay outside the domestic supply chain and are not under countries' control. Next. Uh, the contrast is striking between the top and bottom LPI quantile, especially in the three areas: informal, corrupt payment, compulsory warehousing, and pre-shipment inspection. The first two overlap with the problem identified in the previous LPI report. Science in the 2016 report reported delay in the bottom quantile line. Considerable consist with the low prevalence of most kind of delay and the bottom quintile than the middle ones. It is hoped that this important change reflects catching up the monitoring the trend in the future report will be important. In figure 2.10, given the frequency of delay trend to rise with declining logistic performance, it's unsurprising that the timelines of clearance and deliver generally suffers as one move down the LPI quintile. In the top quintile, most respond report that import and export shipments always or nearly always arrive on schedule, but the bottom quintile around half as many do. It's many do. However, compared with the 2016 LPI report, performance in the low and middle quintiles is noticeable improved, so some convergence taking place. This finding again highlights the importance of low performing countries taking steps of improving predictable and reliability of supply chain to continue narrowing this part of logistic gap. In figure 2.11, the geographic predictable gap may influence competition and the spread of religion supply chain and production network. However, catching is appropriate and approaching figure 2.11 because the data vary considerable from one year another, and the part due the difference and response patterns across countries. In the top LPI quintile in figure 2.12, just 13% of shipment failed to meet company quality criteria, the same proportion as previously. Twice as many shipments in the bottom quintile failed to meet company quality criteria. However, performance in the bottom quintile has improved noticeable since the 2006 LPI. Will this result for the fourth quintile appears? Annuals, it has the highest percentage failing to meet company quality criteria. This finding again that the logistic gap is real but graph narrowing for overall perspective of supply chain efficiency and reliability. The most important quality creation and the freight forwarding is deliver within the promised time window. Almost as important as absence of error as current composition or decomposition. The window of acceptable quality is much narrower, and errors are much less to related the high-performing countries than in the low-performing countries. The shipment quality gap only partly reflects this differing expectation. In the finish, thanks for your listening, and we hope you get the benefit for this presentation.